Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something powerful. The only thing standing between you and the life you were born to live isn't luck, it isn't talent, it isn't timing, it's the invisible prison inside your own mind. You've been lied to. You've been told you're not enough, that success belongs to others, that you should play it safe, and those lies have built the walls around your potential. But today, those walls come down. Because once you destroy the 7 limiting beliefs that have been holding you hostage, you'll realize you were never stuck, you were simply believing the wrong story. And, ladies and gentlemen, the greatest prison in the world is not made of walls or steel bars. It's built inside your own mind. Every day, people wake up and live under invisible chains they created years ago. Chains made of fear, doubt, and false stories about who they think they are and what they believe they can't do. These are the silent killers of potential, the invisible anchors that hold you down while your heart screams to rise. And if you've ever wondered why you're not where you want to be, why you feel stuck despite all your effort, it's not your circumstances. It's not your background, it's your beliefs, and see, your beliefs shape your destiny. They determine what you try, what you tolerate, and what you think is possible. The problem is, most people never question them. They inherited them from parents, teachers, friends, society, and they run their lives like an old, outdated operating system filled with bugs. But here's the truth. Nothing limits you more than the lies you tell yourself, and one of the worst beliefs that blocks success is the thought, "I'm not enough." That single sentence destroys more dreams than failure ever will. It whispers in the back of your mind every time you try to step out of your comfort zone. It makes you hesitate when opportunity knocks. It convinces you that you need to be smarter, richer, or more talented before you start. But listen, no one starts ready. Confidence isn't a prerequisite, it's a result. You become enough by acting as if you already are. The moment you stop waiting to feel worthy and start doing the work, that belief loses its power. And the second belief that destroys growth is, success is for other people. You look at those who have made it, the entrepreneurs, the artists, the leaders, and you think they're different. You think they have something you don't, but they don't. The only difference is that they decided they were worthy of success before they had proof. They took action when no one believed in them. They failed more times than you've tried. The moment you stop seeing success as something that belongs to others and start seeing it as your birthright, everything begins to shift. And another belief that keeps you trapped is, "I don't have enough time." You say you're too busy, too old, too young, too tired, but what you're really saying is, it's not a priority. Everyone on this planet gets 24 hours in a day. The difference is what they do with it. The truth is, you don't lack time, you lack focus. You scroll for hours, overthink decisions, and wait for the perfect moment that never comes. The successful don't find time, they make it. They understand that if something truly matters, it gets done. Time bends to commitment, and then there's the belief, "I might fail." That fear is the poison that kills action before it starts. Failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. Every failure is feedback, a lesson, not a verdict. The only real failure is not trying. The most successful people aren't fearless, they just refuse to let fear make their decisions. When you stop seeing failure as something to avoid and start using it as a teacher, you'll move faster than most people ever dare to. And another toxic belief that sneaks in is, "I have to do it alone." You think asking for help means you're weak, but in truth it means you're wise. Nobody achieves greatness by themselves. Every champion has a coach, every visionary has a team, every movement starts with collaboration. Isolation breeds stagnation. Growth happens in connection with people who challenge you, push you, and remind you of your potential when you forget. You're not meant to carry the weight of your dreams alone, and next comes the belief, "I'm too late." You think your chance has passed, that the window of opportunity closed years ago. But that's a lie. Time doesn't disqualify you, inaction does. Some of the greatest success stories began after years of failure, loss, or doubt. It's not about when you start, it's about starting at all. Every moment you waste believing it's too late is another moment you could be building momentum. The truth is, it's never too late to become the person you were meant to be. And finally, the most dangerous belief of all, this is just who I am. The belief that your personality, habits, or past define your future. That's the biggest lie of them all. You are not your past, you are not your mistakes, you are the decisions you make today. Identity is not fixed, it's fluid. You can rewrite it at any moment, change your story, and you change your life. The moment you stop saying, "That's just who I am," and start saying, "That's who I was," you open the door to transformation. And these 7 beliefs, they're like weeds in the garden of your mind. If you don't pull them out, they'll choke your potential until there's nothing left. But here's the beautiful part, you planted them, and that means you can uproot them. You have the power to rewrite every one of those stories. Every belief you hold either builds you or breaks you. And the world will try to sell you limitations. It'll tell you to be realistic, to stay in your lane, to not aim too high. But those are just projections of other people's fears. You get to decide what's real for you. You get to decide how high you go. The beliefs that used to protect you are now the same ones holding you hostage. Let them go. And when you shift your beliefs, your entire reality shifts with them. The moment you believe you're enough, you stop settling for less. The moment you believe success is available to you, you start chasing it. The moment you believe you can learn from failure, you stop fearing it. That's when your life begins to expand. And the only thing standing between who you are and who you could be is the story you keep telling yourself. And the beautiful thing is you can change that story in an instant. You don't have to wait for permission, for proof, or for someone else to validate you. You decide. You command your mind or it will command you, and you are powerful beyond measure, but that power stays dormant until you choose to unleash it. Break those chains, challenge every belief that makes you feel small. Every time you hear that inner voice whisper, "You can't," remember that's not truth. That's conditioning. You've been programmed to doubt yourself. It's time to reprogram your mind for success, for abundance, for freedom. And your mind will try to protect you from discomfort, but comfort is the cage that kills greatness. The pain you feel when you stretch, when you grow, when you face your fears, that's not punishment. That's progress. That's the sound of your old beliefs breaking apart. And you have everything you need to create the life you've always wanted. But first, you must destroy the lies that tell you otherwise. Because once you let go of those limiting beliefs, you'll realize the truth: you were never broken, never behind, never too late. You were just believing the wrong story. Change the story and everything changes, and you were just believing the wrong story. Change the story and everything changes, because the story you live by determines the boundaries of your reality. The truth is, most people are living stories written by other people, stories of fear, scarcity, and limitation. You were told what you could do, who you could be, and how far you could go, and somewhere along the way you stopped questioning it. But the moment you begin to challenge those narratives, your power returns. You start realizing that life doesn't happen to you, it responds to you. And the mind is a master sculptor. Every thought, every belief, every emotion carves the shape of your destiny. When you think small, you shrink your world. When you think big, your world expands to meet that vision. So, if you want to change your life, stop focusing on what's missing and start focusing on what's possible. The people who create extraordinary results are not necessarily more talented. They simply refuse to be confined by ordinary thinking. And you have to become the guardian of your mind. You can't let every fear, every doubt, every piece of negativity set up camp inside your head. Your thoughts are not commands, they're suggestions. You get to decide which ones you believe and which ones you reject. Every time you choose a thought that empowers you, you strengthen the muscle of possibility. Every time you choose courage over fear, you reinforce the identity of a leader, a creator, a victor. And most people never realize how much control they truly have. They walk around believing they're victims of circumstance, but the reality is that circumstances are neutral. It's the meaning you attach to them that shapes your life. Two people can face the same setback, and one will crumble while the other will rise stronger. The difference isn't luck, it's interpretation. It's the belief behind the reaction. The one who believes that challenges are opportunities for growth will always turn pain into power. And you have to decide right now that your past will no longer dictate your future. Whatever happened, happened for you, not to you. Every wound carried a lesson. Every disappointment carved depth into your character. Every failure revealed a strength you didn't know you had. When you start to see your past as training instead of trauma, you unlock freedom. You stop fighting your story and start using it as fuel. And there's a fire that burns inside every human being, a hunger for more, for meaning, for impact. But that fire gets dimmed by the noise of self-doubt. The world tells you to play safe, to think small, to fit in. But safety never created greatness. Every breakthrough in history was born from someone who refused to stay comfortable. You don't grow by avoiding risk. You grow by walking into the unknown with faith that you'll figure it out. The people who change their lives are the ones who act before they feel ready. And you've got to condition your mind daily. Just as your body needs exercise to stay strong, your mind needs empowering thoughts to stay sharp. Feed it with books, with podcasts, with mentors, with anything that reminds you of who you truly are. Because if you don't feed your mind with inspiration, the world will feed it with doubt. Discipline is not punishment, it's the highest form of self-love. It's saying, I'm not going to let temporary feelings dictate my permanent destiny. And you are the author of your internal dialogue. You can speak words of limitation or words of liberation. You can tell yourself I can't, or you can tell yourself I will. Whatever story you repeat long enough becomes your reality. So, if you've been telling yourself you're not enough, it's time to rewrite that script. It's time to say, I am more than enough, I am capable, I am becoming. Because what you say to yourself in the silence of your mind determines how you show up in the noise of the world. And let's be honest, there will always be resistance. Growth will test you. The moment you decide to change, everything in your life that's built around your old identity will try to pull you back. People will doubt you. Fear will whisper reasons to quit. But remember this, resistance only appears when progress is being made. The presence of struggle is proof that you're moving forward. Keep going. The pain you feel today is the strength you'll use tomorrow. And there's another belief that traps so many people, the idea that they need permission to go after what they want. Permission from society, from their family, from their peers. But the truth is, nobody's going to hand you your freedom. Nobody's going to give you the green light. You have to claim it. You have to give yourself permission to dream, to fail, to rise, to evolve. Because if you wait for others to validate your journey, you'll wait forever. The world respects action, not hesitation. And you must learn to celebrate progress, not perfection. Perfection is an illusion that keeps you stuck. Every step forward counts, no matter how small. When you start acknowledging your progress, your confidence grows. You begin to realize that you're not the same person you were yesterday. Success is not a destination, it's the daily act of becoming better, stronger, wiser. You don't have to get it all right, you just have to keep moving. And another powerful truth to remember, your environment shapes your belief system. Surround yourself with people who remind you of your potential, not your limitations. If you're always around those who complain, you'll start to see the world through their lens of scarcity. But when you're around people who dream big, who challenge you, who push you, your entire mindset shifts. You start believing in possibilities you couldn't see before. Choose your circle wisely because energy is contagious. And it's also important to understand that belief without action is fantasy. You can sit around and visualize success all day, but unless you're willing to take bold, consistent action, nothing changes. Belief gives you direction, but action gives you results. So act even if you're scared, even if you don't have all the answers. Clarity comes from movement, not meditation. The more you do, the more you learn, and the more you believe in your own ability to create. And every moment is an opportunity to rewrite your life. You don't need a new year or a new decade, you just need a new decision. One choice can change the entire trajectory of your life. One moment of courage can erase years of fear. One conversation, one risk, one leap, that's all it takes. Don't underestimate the power of a single decision made in alignment with your highest self. And you must start seeing yourself as the cause, not the effect. Stop waiting for life to get easier, instead decide to get stronger. Stop wishing for opportunities, start creating them. Stop blaming circumstances, start mastering them. When you take full ownership of your life, you take back your power. Victims react, leaders create. And you were not put here to live small. You were not born to settle for mediocrity. You were designed for greatness, but greatness requires courage. It requires faith when the outcome is uncertain. It requires persistence when results don't come quickly. Success doesn't belong to the most talented, it belongs to the most committed, to those who refuse to give up when it gets hard. And the beautiful part is, belief can be rebuilt. Just like a muscle, it grows through repetition and resistance. Every time you face fear and act anyway, you strengthen that belief. Every time you overcome doubt, you reinforce confidence. Every time you push past comfort, you expand what's possible. That's how transformation happens, one belief, one action, one victory at a time. And so, when those limiting thoughts try to creep back in, when your mind whispers you can't, you're not ready, you're too late, remember who you are. You are the thinker behind the thought. You are the creator behind the creation. You are not your past, your fears, or your failures. You are infinite potential wrapped in human form. And the moment you fully believe that, not just in your head, but in your heart, in your soul, the world starts to bend in your favor. Doors begin to open. Energy begins to shift. You attract people, opportunities, and outcomes that match your new identity. Because life doesn't give you what you want, it gives you who you are, and so become the person who no longer entertains limitations. Become the person who acts boldly, thinks abundantly, and lives fearlessly. Because the world doesn't change when you play small, it changes when you decide to rise. And because the world doesn't change when you play small, it changes when you decide to rise. The moment you rise, you ignite a spark that gives others permission to do the same. People feel your energy before they hear your words. When you walk into a room with certainty, with conviction, with a belief that you are exactly where you're meant to be, the world takes notice. You stop chasing validation because your energy becomes the proof. You stop asking for opportunities because you create them. That's the power of alignment. When your beliefs, your words, and your actions move in the same direction, the universe responds. But here's the truth most people never face. Belief is not built in comfort. Belief is born in struggle. It's forged in moments when you feel like giving up but choose to go one more round. Every time life tests you, it's not punishing you, it's preparing you. It's giving you the chance to prove to yourself who you really are. The pain, the failure, the disappointment, they're not obstacles, they're teachers. Each one is sculpting you into the person capable of holding the success you're asking for. Because if success came without resistance, it would crumble under pressure. And you've got to understand that every limitation is an invitation. When you hit a wall, that wall isn't there to stop you, it's there to show you what you still need to learn. Most people see barriers and quit. The great ones see barriers and adapt. They ask different questions. Instead of why is this happening to me, they ask what is this teaching me? Because the moment you change your questions, you change your focus. And when you change your focus, you change your destiny. And the difference between those who dream and those who achieve is not intelligence or talent, it's persistence. It's the willingness to keep showing up even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when nobody's clapping for you. Most people quit right before their breakthrough. They let fear and fatigue convince them that their effort isn't working. But every small action compounds, every decision to keep going adds up. Success is never one giant leap. It's a series of consistent, courageous steps made in the dark before the light appears. And you've got to stop negotiating with your potential, stop settling for good enough. When you know there's greatness inside you, you were not born to live average. You were not meant to live a life that's comfortable but unfulfilled. That restlessness you feel deep inside, that quiet voice that says, there's more, and that's your soul reminding you that you haven't even scratched the surface of who you could become. That voice is sacred. Don't silence it. Don't drown it out with distractions or excuses. Listen to it because it's trying to lead you back to your purpose. And every belief you hold either builds your future or buries it. And most of the time, the beliefs holding you back aren't even yours. They're borrowed, passed down by parents who did their best but carried their own fears, reinforced by teachers who saw the world through limitation, strengthened by friends who stopped dreaming long ago. But you don't have to carry those beliefs anymore. You can choose differently. You can say that may have been their story, but it's not mine. You can rewrite the script. You can choose to see yourself as limitless, and it's not arrogance to believe in yourself, it's responsibility. Because if you don't believe in your vision, who will? The world reflects your certainty back to you. If you walk through life doubting yourself, you'll attract people and situations that confirm that doubt. But when you move with conviction, when you stand tall in your truth, life begins to rearrange itself around your certainty. People sense it, opportunities sense it, energy bends to belief, and yes, you'll be tested, you'll be misunderstood. People will question your ambition because it threatens their comfort. They'll say you've changed, and they'll be right. You're supposed to. Growth requires evolution. You can't cling to the old version of yourself and expect to live a new life. Change means shedding layers of fear, of guilt, of identity, until what's left is pure authenticity. And when you reach that level of truth, you stop performing for approval and start living in alignment with purpose. And you have to stop living for the applause and start living for the impact. The applause fades, the impact lasts forever. When you operate from purpose, every challenge becomes meaningful. You stop asking, why is this so hard? And start realizing, this is shaping me into who I need to be. You stop chasing quick rewards and start building lasting fulfillment. Because real success isn't about what you get, it's about who you become in the process. And you can't wait for belief to show up one day fully formed. You've got to train it. You've got to speak power over your life every single day, even when you don't feel it yet. When your mind says, I can't, your soul must answer, watch me. When fear whispers, what if you fail? Courage must shout, what if I fly? You must become louder than your limitations. Every morning, remind yourself that you're capable, that you're worthy, that you're becoming stronger, wiser, and more powerful with every experience. And the greatest transformations come when you start operating from faith instead of fear. Fear looks at the present and says, what if it all goes wrong? Faith looks at the same situation and says, what if it all works out? Both require belief. The only difference is the direction of that belief. Fear imagines failure, faith imagines possibility. Whichever one you feed will dominate your destiny. And you've got to fall in love with the process, not just the outcome. The process is where growth happens, where strength is built. The process is where you discover who you are when everything else is stripped away. And when you start loving the climb as much as the summit, you become unstoppable. Because the person who enjoys the journey will always outlast the person who only loves the destination. And every time you push through discomfort, you're rewiring your brain. You're teaching yourself that pain is not the enemy, it's the signal that you're evolving. Comfort zones are invisible prisons. They feel safe, but they slowly suffocate your potential. The moment you step outside of one, your life begins to expand. You start to see new possibilities, meet new people, attract new energy. Life rewards courage always. And there's a power that wakes up the moment you decide to stop living small. It's a fire that was never gone, just buried beneath fear and doubt. But once you fan that flame, once you say enough, I'm done playing safe, you awaken something primal inside you, the warrior, the creator, the visionary. And when that part of you wakes up, there's no going back. You begin to move differently, you talk differently, you think differently. Because you're no longer waiting for the world to change, you become the change. And the beautiful thing is, when you rise, you inspire others to rise too. You become proof that it's possible. You show them that limitations are illusions, that the boundaries of life are not fixed but flexible. Your courage gives others courage. Your belief in yourself becomes the mirror that reflects their potential. That's how movements begin, one person daring to believe in something greater than fear. And so when life knocks you down, and it will, don't see it as the end. See it as the reset. Every time you fall, you have the chance to rise stronger, wiser, and more focused. Failure doesn't define you, it refines you. It burns away weakness and leaves behind resilience. It's not happening to break you, it's happening to build you. And you are capable of more than you've ever imagined, but you won't discover that by staying comfortable. You'll find it in the moments that test your patience, challenge your faith, and stretch your limits. That's where your greatness lies, just beyond the edge of fear. When you step into that space, you'll realize that the limits you once believed in were never real. They were just walls you built with your thoughts, and tear them down, rewrite the story, reclaim your power. Because the world doesn't need another person living small. It needs you, fully awake, fully alive, fully believing. And because the world doesn't need another person living small, it needs you, fully awake, fully alive, fully believing. It needs you to remember what it feels like to dream without limits, to chase without hesitation, to live without apology. Somewhere deep down, you already know that you were born for more than mediocrity. You've felt it in those quiet moments when the noise fades and your heart whispers that there's something bigger waiting for you. That whisper is truth. It's the voice of the part of you that still remembers your potential. The question is, are you ready to listen to it? And most people spend their lives running from that voice. They drown it out with distraction, with busyness, with excuses. Because that voice demands honesty, and honesty can be uncomfortable. It calls you out on every way you've been settling, every excuse you've been hiding behind. It reminds you of the promises you made to yourself but never kept. But that discomfort is not your enemy, it's your awakening. Growth doesn't happen in silence or safety. It happens when you confront the truth about who you are and who you've been pretending to be. And you can't transform your life while holding onto the lies that protect your ego. You've got to be willing to tear them down, the lies that say you're not ready, that you're not capable, that your past defines your future. Those lies feel safe because they give you permission to stay the same. But comfort and purpose cannot coexist. The life you desire lives on the other side of the walls you've built around yourself. Every wall you tear down expands your capacity to live freely, boldly, unapologetically. And the world doesn't reward potential, it rewards execution. It rewards those who are willing to act even when they don't feel ready. You can read every book, attend every seminar, listen to every speech, but until you decide to move, nothing changes. Action is the bridge between belief and reality. You can't think your way into transformation, you must act your way into it. Every step, no matter how small, sends a message to your subconscious, I'm becoming this person. And over time, your mind begins to align with that truth. And you don't need massive leaps, you just need momentum. Consistency beats intensity. The person who takes small, focused actions every day will always surpass the one who waits for the perfect moment to make a grand move. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to show up every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because discipline is built in discomfort and progress is born in persistence. And every great achievement was once impossible until someone did it. The only reason something feels out of reach right now is because your current level of belief can't see it yet. But that doesn't mean it's not possible. It means you have to grow into the version of yourself who can hold it. Every goal, every dream, every desire is an invitation to evolve. You don't attract what you want, you attract who you become. So instead of asking, can I do this? Start asking, who do I need to become to do this? Because when you focus on becoming, the doing takes care of itself. And your transformation will not be comfortable, and it will not be convenient. It will demand sacrifice. It will ask you to let go of old habits, old identities, old relationships that no longer serve the person you're becoming. But that's the price of growth. Every time you level up, something must be left behind. You can't carry your old excuses into your new life. You can't hold on to fear and expect freedom. You can't cling to doubt and expect clarity. You must release what's weighing you down to rise to where you belong. And you've got to make a decision so powerful that it cuts off every other option. A decision that says, I'm done settling, I'm done shrinking, I'm done living beneath my potential. That's the moment when change becomes non-negotiable. Until then, you'll keep dipping your toes in the water of transformation without ever diving in. You'll keep waiting for the right time, but the truth is there is no right time. The right time is the moment you decide that you're done waiting. And when you make that decision, life will test it. You'll face resistance not because you're on the wrong path, but because you're on the right one. The greater the purpose, the greater the pressure. But that pressure is what turns coal into diamonds. The struggle is what makes you strong enough to hold the success you've been praying for. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. Every setback is shaping you. Every obstacle is building your resilience. Every delay is refining your destiny. And there's a version of you that's fearless, focused, unstoppable. But that version won't emerge until you stop settling for the current one. You've got to make peace with discomfort. You've got to look at fear and say, you don't own me anymore. Because fear will never disappear, it just changes shape. The goal is not to eliminate fear, it's to move despite it. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's the mastery of it. Every time you move through fear, it loses its power. And remember, belief isn't something you find, it's something you build. You build it by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you do what you said you would, even when it's hard, your confidence grows. Every time you push through resistance, your faith in yourself deepens. Confidence doesn't come from external validation, it comes from internal evidence. So, if you want to believe in yourself more, start giving yourself reasons to. And you have to stop comparing your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. Their success doesn't diminish yours. Their progress doesn't define your pace. Everyone's journey unfolds differently. Focus on yours. The seed that blooms in the spring doesn't envy the one that bloomed in the fall. It understands that timing is divine. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be to learn what you must learn for what's coming next. And you can't move forward while looking backward. The past is a place of reference, not residence. Whatever happened, the failures, the regrets, the missed chances, they don't define you, they refined you. You can't drive into your future while staring in the rear-view mirror. Let it go. Use the lessons, not the limitations. The weight you carry from yesterday is stealing the strength you need for tomorrow. Release it. And every time you decide to rise above fear, to move forward, to trust yourself, you rewrite your identity. You stop being the person who tries and become the person who does. You stop being a spectator of your potential and become the author of your destiny. That's what belief really is, not blind optimism, but unshakable certainty that you can figure it out no matter what. And you've been through enough to know that you're resilient. You've survived everything life has thrown at you. You've faced pain, rejection, heartbreak, and disappointment, and yet you're still here. That means you're undefeated. So, don't underestimate the strength that already lives within you. If you've made it this far, you can go further. The same strength that got you through your worst days will carry you through your greatest victories. And stop waiting for external permission to live a big life. Nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to hand you your dream. You have to be the one to step up and claim it. The day you stop waiting for the world to believe in you and start believing in yourself is the day everything changes. And you are more powerful than you realize. The beliefs that once defined your limits are now fuel for your rise. Every no you've ever heard, every failure you've ever faced, every doubt you've ever carried, they've all been preparing you for this moment. The moment you decide to stop playing small and start living as the person you were meant to be. And because the world doesn't need more people playing safe, it needs people who are alive, passionate, and unapologetically pursuing their purpose. It needs people like you to stand tall, to break free from the chains of fear, and to show others what's possible when you finally believe.